If you're getting ready to work with a buyer's agent in California, there's a good chance someone has mentioned a buyer-broker agreement, and there's an equally good chance it's created more questions than answers. Today, I want to demystify it completely. I'm going to show you exactly where it fits inside a real estate transaction, what it actually says, why it exists, so that when you go to sit down to sign one, you feel informed and not pressured. I'm Caleb Ramsay, your Triple C Realtor here in West Los Angeles. I work with buyers who want clarity, compassion, and confident guidance through every step of the process, including the paperwork. I call it my Triple C style. If you have questions about your specific situation, call or text me at 818-450-7515 or caleb.ramsey@exprealty.com. Also, links are in the description or in my bio. All right, let's start with the bigger picture here. A real estate transaction in California involves three core ingredients. Most buyers only know about one of them. So understanding all three changes how the whole process feels. Document one is the listing agreement. This is a contract between the seller and the seller's agent. It authorizes that agent to market and sell the property, and the buyer is not a party to this agreement. You never see it and you never sign it. This document determines the things like how long the property is listed, what commission the seller has agreed to pay that agent, and then what marketing that agent is authorized to do, to name a few. So that's a seller and their agent's agreement. It has nothing to do with you as the buyer. That's where document number two comes in. This is the buyer-broker agreement. This is the contract between you, the buyer, and your agent. It establishes the working relationship. It's what your agent is responsible for, how long the agreement lasts, and how your agent gets compensated. All right, I want to pause on that last part, compensation, otherwise known as commission. This is what changed after the NAR settlement took effect in 2024, and it's what's causing most of the confusion for buyers right now. Before that settlement, compensation was typically baked into the listing agreement and the seller paid it automatically. After the settlement, that arrangement had to become explicit and separate. So the buyer-broker agreement is how that's documented on the buyer side. Moving on to document three. It's the residential purchase agreement, or the RPA. This is the actual contract to purchase a home. It's between you, the buyer, and the seller. Your agent and the seller's agent, your buyer agent and the seller agent, are just facilitators. They help negotiate, structure, and execute it, but they are not parties to that contract. So it's a key note to remember. A buyer-broker agreement must be signed and dated before the RPA is signed and dated. So the RPA covers price, contingencies, timelines, what stays in the property, your inspection rights, how disputes are handled. Everything related to the actual transaction is in the RPA. Here's why this is important for you to understand and absorb. This is where a buyer can ask the seller for concessions, aka credits. Those concessions can include covering the buyer's fees and expenses, including the broker fee. These concessions are all negotiable, and a good buyer agent will help you navigate the negotiations with the seller. We'll cover this in more detail soon. So, bottom line, a transaction consists of three separate documents, three separate relationships, each one performing a specific job. Okay, so now let's walk through that buyer-broker agreement itself, the sections that are super important for you to understand as a buyer. The representation agreement can be defined by an area. It matters because it clarifies where the agreement applies. This can be defined by county, city, or geographical area. There is an alternative form that allows a buyer to work with an agent on a specific property only, but we're not covering that here today, but it's just good for you to know it exists. The second section is the term. This defines how long you and your agent are going to work together under this agreement. The term is negotiable. However, the max is 90 days for an individual and a little bit longer for LLCs. I think 120 days. But since this agreement can be canceled at any time, I always put 90 days so you don't have to worry about signing this new contract if we're not able to purchase a home in that time frame. So items 3 to 5 are our disclosures, the efforts, and experience. This is the part most buyers don't read carefully enough, and it's actually a very valuable part of the agreement. Your agent owes you a fiduciary responsibility under California law. This is California state law that means undivided loyalty, confidentiality, full disclosure, and the obligation to act in your best interest. Not theirs, not the seller's, nobody else, yours. So the buyer-broker agreement formalizes that relationship in writing, which in California, that's required to have it in writing. So it's not just a formality, it's the legal foundation of what your agent is responsible for delivering. So item 6 is exclusivity. So most buyer-broker agreements here in California are exclusive, meaning you agree to work with one agent during the term of the agreement. And really, this protects both sides. So the agent is committing their time and expertise to you, and you're committed to bringing them your business during that window. This document is not a trap. It's a professional working relationship, the same as hiring any other professional service provider. What matters is that you feel confident in the agent before you sign off on it. Ask to see their process, their track record in the target neighborhoods, and how they communicate. Do they have a buyer packet to show you? These are all important things to understand. Item number 7, compensation. This is the section that changed after the NAR settlement, and I want to be very direct about it. The BBA specifies how your agent will be compensated. It specifies the amount, how it's structured, and that the buyer is ultimately responsible for paying it. That's a big thing. It's a shock to a lot of buyers, but that's how it has to be set up now. However, as I mentioned before, in many transactions, most transactions actually, the seller can agree to cover the compensation as part of the deal structure. It's just that now this has to be negotiated between the seller and the buyer rather than assumed. So a good agent will explain you exactly how this works without hesitation. If they're vague about it, that's a signal. So here's how I want to frame all of this for you. The buyer-broker agreement is not a trap. It's not the industry trying to extract money from buyers. It's a transparency tool, one that, when it's explained properly, actually protects buyers and brings more clarity to the process. Before the NAR settlement, the financial arrangement between the agents was an assumption and largely invisible to the buyer and the seller. You didn't see it, you didn't negotiate it, it just happened in the background. You thought, hey, I don't pay it, so who cares? But now it's explicit. It's clearly laid out. So my approach with every buyer I work with is simple. I walk you through the agreement line by line before you sign anything. I don't rush you. I don't pressure you. You ask every question you have and I answer it directly. If something doesn't make sense to you, we don't move on until it does. That's what clarity, compassion, and confident execution actually looks like in practice. Again, my CCC style. If you're getting ready to start your home search and you want someone who will walk you through every document, not just hand you a stack of papers, I'd love to connect. You can call or text me at 818-450-7515. You email me at caleb.ramsay@exprealty.com. Hey, if this video helped you feel more prepared, hit subscribe. I post weekly content covering the West LA market and everything buyers and sellers need to know. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.